Okay. Welcome to another episode of Panakal, a podcast for geeks. This one will be about the final recap on WandaVision. I think pretty much all my guests here have been on at one point or another to talk to me about WandaVision. I assume you guys all watched it and were caught up. Carey, I'm looking at you.
What? I'm the one that drops spoilers to you over Discord.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't drop any spoilers to me this time. What happened? You fell asleep at the wheel or something? Like, I was waiting. Carey always drops me like one word spoilers. It's like, so like I have to play this puzzle game of like, the fuck does this spoiler mean? You know, like, which is kind of good and kind of stressful because sometimes, because you guys all know he sent me the word Grogu and I was like, I don't know what that means. Like, I sat there staring at that for a minute, you know. Okay, it looks like Restream is working, which is great, which is what we want. So where should we start? I could start with some of the notes I made. Some of the ideas I had were, you know, everyone's all excited saying this now has opened up a door for the Phase 4, which kind of like how Iron Man moved us all into the next phase of Marvel. Wanda is now moving us into the next phase of the Marvel series, which is Phase 4, finally. Which
saga.
Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna get it sounds like we're gonna get a bunch of shows first, and then we're gonna get a bunch of hopefully movies. It was kind of cool to see. Have you guys all read? I think it's called Vision Quest.
No.
So the White Vision idea comes directly from Vision Quest, where
Oh, okay, yeah. I haven't read
I remember you mentioning that last
given
time.
the TLDR.
I mean, the difference is with the Vision we're getting in the movies is he's got the Mind Stone that activates him, right? And his brain in the movies in the MCU universe is made up of Tony Stark and Bruce Banner. But in the comic books, I believe his if I remember correctly, his brain is made up from basically Wonder Man. Mm-hmm. Who, when Vision, I forget how he gets dismantled or destroyed, but when he comes back as this White Vision, Wonder Man is the one who's supposed to give him his brain again, and the dude basically is like no, because he's in love with Wanda. So I don't know if they're going to introduce this character at some point, because what ends up happening is Wanda, you see at the end of this episode, she's basically accepted her grief to a certain point. And in the comic books, that's kind of what it is. He comes back. He's like, check it out. I'm back. And she's like, yeah, I kind of got over you. And then he's got to go on like this. Ship. Yeah. But yeah, well, you know, it's the same ship. I thought that was weird, too. They're in the middle of a battle. He's like, let me give you this theological lesson or this philosophy lesson in the middle of this battle. And both those beings being super hyper intelligent like that are sitting. They're literally like, yeah, we don't have to fight. Let's sit down and talk this over and see what happens. Which is kind of cool.
How they bring back Vision, and then he's still like that basic coding, which is like, I'm still philosophical. I'm still like, yeah, I'll listen to reason. What do you got?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's like what you think a Twitter discussion should be like. Vision, what it's actually like. Wanda and Agatha.
If that's how a Twitter discussion would be, it'd be so much nicer on Twitter, man.
Right?
Yeah, where he's like, I require more elaboration. I was like, well, that's a twist. You know? Like,
yeah.
I didn't expect him to come to a dead stop and ask that question, but
I like that, dude.
Because that's who Vision is, right? Like, he's very, like, even in Age of Ultron, at the very end of that movie, he tries to talk to Ultron instead of just showing up and eradicating him, right? Like, you're the threat. I can just take you out. You're so weak right now. But he shows up and tries to talk to the guy and convince him that humans aren't that bad. And Ultron still pounces at him and gets blown up, right? You don't know what happens to Ultron, to be honest with you. You just know he's gone somehow.
Yeah.
And some of the rumors were he was the one that got downloaded into the Matrix. But you saw Vision downloaded all his data into the new Vision, and that guy's like, I'm Vision. He just takes off. But I was kind of like, where are you going?
I know, right? If you're Vision, you're like, your baby mama's right over there, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he's off to
Wakanda.
If they do what they did in the comics, he's off on his own little spirit quest, essentially.
Well, I know part of the reason they said that they had like a connection was because
they both had part of the Mind Stone, right? Like,
Yeah.
The whole idea is like she got her chaos magic, or at least amplified because of the Mind Stone. So like, since this new Vision doesn't have anything to do with the Mind Stone,
Right.
like, do they still have a connection then?
So the connection I drew from that was she says, I forgot the exact line, but at the end of the episode she says, the piece of the Mind Stone in me is also in you, right? Because she basically brought him to life. And that also suggests that when they brought the other Vision to life, who's still Vision apparently, using the ship that she had sent back, the drone, you know, her essence was still on there. That's why I was sitting there like, how is her ability still?
Turned yellow.
That's him downloading the data, right?
Yeah, it's the 4-year-old in me wants to point out that it turned yellow and it
turned
wasn't
yellow.
blue
You're
anymore.
right.
Here's a question, because I don't remember it well enough, because I don't. God, it's been ages since I saw Infinity War and Endgame. Did she actually absorb the Mind Stone in any way, or was that just a purely metaphorical thing?
The Mind Stone is what gave her abilities.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that
and the Mind Stone is what gave Vision his abilities.
Oh, okay. So you're saying like because her powers got unlocked through Mind Stone, like she had. Okay, gotcha.
The Mind Stone. Remember when she's in that room with the in the Soviet testing? Yeah, the Hydra facility. The Mind Stone awoken her.
For me to take it.
Right.
I think there's a decent amount of planning when you have like, you know, we're thinking about Vision and Wanda, and we're using the Mind Stone, keeping the Mind Stone so prevalent in the two Avengers movies, and
because people are watching it.
Connection.
Yeah, because they're watching it the same way we're watching it, right? You're watching it and you're thinking, the Mind Stone brought him to life. How is he alive right now? And the abilities came from Wanda's powers, which were again tied back to the Mind Stone.
When Vision splits off from her forehead like freaking Zeus or something, the magic that made Vision was yellow. See, I got this 3-year-old crayon color thing down.
So Albert was watching.
Right? So.
Albert has a good point too. He said the same. He's kind of reiterating what we were talking about. He's like, he got his memory back and is himself again. So why not stay with Wanda? And I think that's going to come back to the Vision Quest side of things, where he is saying I'm Vision, but he's not 100% Vision that's in love with Wanda.
Yeah.
Right. He's got to like reacclimate to being himself.
Yeah.
And in the comic books, what he does is he goes and he lives his life as a human for a little bit. In like, I can't. It was weird and corny if I remember correctly. He gets a job in the city or something. He looks like a total doofus.
Here's the question.
Hold on, one of you guys at a time.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just making a joke. What do you guys?
I was gonna say, like, if D23 hasn't been announced yet, then I'm sure we'll see like a Vision Quest TV series then or something. I wouldn't be surprised.
That would be great. I think if they got away with a lot of campiness in WandaVision, so I think that a Vision Quest campy sitcom setup would go over well. But I think they're gonna have to give it a minute.
Here's a question: if they'll do it like, because I remember there was that one Vision comic a few years back where he tried to like have a normal family with like his own Vision wife and Vision children, and everything goes shit sideways.
What was their name? I forget.
The kids?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I think written by Tom King.
I mean, like, I hated it by default because it wasn't my ship, but, you know, like...
Are we talking about the kids?
Live your life, Vision. No, we're talking about the comic offshoot where Vision tried to have his own family independent of Wanda.
All right,
like
that's the Vision Quest, I thought.
Is that?
I'll tell you right now.
Google it. Go.
That is what I'm doing.
It's just called The Vision.
The Visions.
Yeah, it's just called The Vision. Tom
See,
King's
I only know
The
all
Vision.
this because my partner is a huge nerd and has been shitposting to Reddit nonstop since WandaVision started. And she has read a lot of these comics, so she like gave me a dissertation this morning about.
So
she's like, "Don't forget this stuff."
That's So did you also? So my cousin sent me this information this morning. I will admit I am the worst kind of fan. I forgot to watch to the end of the credits. I saw the first Easter egg.
Wow.
Dude,
The last one was the best one.
The one where she's at the mountain. My cousin's like, she's at the mountain. I was like, she at Mount One. It's called like Wonder Gore.
I almost told you to stick to the end of the credits, but
I wish you had, because I saw the first Easter egg and then like something I'm guessing the kid.
This is all your fault now.
I literally typed it.
I blame Carey for not spoiling. I blame Carey for not spoiling this. But if I remember that mountain is where they.
To be a good fan.
Bye guys, just run the show without me. If I remember, that's the mountain where they were both born, right? It's supposed to be the mountain where Wanda and Pietro were born.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
she might be going home.
I had to look up the name. It's called Mount Wandagore, and it's supposed to be part of the the lore. But I don't know enough about that mountain other than the fact that that's supposed to be where they were both born. And I'm gonna have to go watch just the last part of the episode because I watched the first Easter egg and I dumped out because I thought there can't be 2 Easter eggs. But the last episode before that had 2. I don't know why I thought there would only be 1. I'm stupid like that.
It's the end.
It's the end.
They got to set up her, and then they got to set up, Monica's the other important character.
Yeah.
I'm trying to read my other notes that
How
so
Okay, yeah. So the Knights of
series.
Wundagore in the comics fought against Cthon.
okay.
Oh, okay.
So it's gonna be like a Cthon tie-in, I think. That's my hot take until they make a boner joke about it, and then I feel stupid. Which I love, by the way.
Ralph Boner.
So there's 2. So that really got on my nerves too because I was like, okay, so this dude is not. I mean, it's funny, but he's not. Okay, I'm a little upset that we did not get we got hints of a Fantastic Four, never revealed.
Yeah.
We got hints of an X-Men, never revealed. So essentially her contact engineer was that lady that we all met that gave her the bunky tank that couldn't get through the field,
No, wait, no.
Go on.
I think, okay, so the scroll at the very end is like, he wants you in space, right? He wants you up there. That could be her contact.
That sounds like Fury, though.
Yeah.
It might not be, but
Yeah.
you're right.
Heard Space and Homecoming, or no, not Homecoming, Far From Home.
Yeah, he's up there with the scrolls, right? So,
Okay.
I mean, I get what you're saying, though, Tom. It could be Reed Richards just chilling up there. I had to rewind that sequence and listen again because my wife was watching with me. I'm like, did he say he or she? Because if you said she, that could be Captain Marvel, and it could tie into the second movie. And she was like, no, he said he.
It said he, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're also waiting for like Abigail Brand, to come up at some point. They're doing Sword.
True. I mean, there could be a whole
Okay, but
sword facility up there.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we saw Fury in a whole Sword facility. They have some space station, and going off on a tangent about Skrulls, we might have good Skrulls who've been in the government. How many are in government positions? And then when they do Secret Invasion, it's going to be there's bad Skrulls also in.
If they do Secret Invasion, it's gonna be bananas. What are you trying to say, Tyler?
I think they're doing.
I was gonna say on the subject of people who haven't shown up yet, where the fuck is Mr. Sorcerer Supreme? I'm protecting everybody from magic. Agatha has been like Agatha and Wanda creates a fucking tear in the multiverse and traps a bunch of townspeople. Agatha shows up and she just stirs up shit like you did when you were a kid. You poured water over an anthill. And
yeah, but Agatha's, I think, small potatoes.
Just, like sipping Mai Tais on like the roof of his.
No, I think
Wanda
Agatha's
does.
small
She's got
potatoes
the
compared to. She definitely has a Darkhold. I'm glad they confirmed that for us. I was like,
Yeah.
so it is the Darkhold. That's good to know, because that gives you an idea of potentially a Nightmare character showing up.
And now Wanda.
But still.
So,
I feel like he's phoned in on that one. And I think everybody's like,
maybe he's
who's gonna
fighting
punish
something,
Wanda?
right?
Who's gonna punish Doctor Strange? He didn't even show.
She's small potatoes compared to Dormammu. So
yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm in the middle of something
He's
here.
gonna wait till Cthon actually shows up.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
He's gonna wait
right,
something
he's
bigger
that
shows up.
high.
So Albert is saying one thing.
Below his pay grade.
Albert said one thing I didn't understand was how Monica suddenly got her powers. It's the same idea that everyone has these dormant powers that can activate at specific times, and I think Monica's power is activated by going through the field, which is basically Wanda juicing you up, right?
Yeah.
And Darcy gave us that. She said that it's like rewriting you every time you go through
Right.
that shell.
And I don't think she knows what she was doing. I think she jumped in front of the bullets, and her body was like removing the kinetic energy from the
Right.
bullets
Yeah.
before
I
she
agree with that.
landed. She's just reactions.
And she's like, "Oh, thank God that shit worked." Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. So I did write this one thing down about Vision. I have a little section on Vision here. It says, and I took this straight from a website, but I just copy pasted it. It said, right before Vision discorporates as the hex ends, he sheds a single tear. This is a reference to one of the most famous Vision moments in all time. I don't know about that. In Avengers 58, various members of Avengers give Vision a rousing endorsement, particularly citing his heroism and humanity before introducing him to the team. Vision excuses himself to shed a single tear. The point of that is the next reference here, which says, in the unhexed version of Westview, one of the movies showing in the theater is the Tannhauser Gate, which is Blade Runner, a reference to the famous Tears in the Rain monologue at the end of Blade Runner, fitting considering the monologue came from a synthetic man accepting his own death in his final moments. So I noticed that movie. I've been watching every time that movie theater comes up in any of the fucking episodes. I watch the name like a hawk to be like, what's this one? Because it's a little Easter eggs to what's coming up, you know? And the little boys, the two kids' names are Billy and Tommy, which I, for some dumbass reason, could not remember her kids' names at all.
Oh, they're Billy and Tommy. My wife and I kept thinking their names were Timmy and Tommy for some reason.
Close enough. That's close.
I think it's because like Ange has been playing a lot of Animal Crossing lately, and there's Timmy and Nook in that. So
The Nooks, yeah.
Oh my god! So, quick side note. You know, if you ever play the game Roots, it's a board game. There's a raccoon in that game, and they call him the Vagabond. So every time my daughter pulls out her little raccoon character, I go, "That's a raccoon. He's a vagabond." And the other day, when she was showing the raccoon off, she said "vagabond" instead of raccoon, and I was just like, "Amazing." And I just kind of sat there staring, like, you know, like everyone's like, "Where did she learn that word?" Who knows? Who's to say?
What a misser.
So there was another note I made in regards to Billy and Tommy. It has been reported that the young actors who play Billy and Tommy filmed scenes for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in London last year. So there's a good chance those kids are...
Yeah, because you can't just, like, they just wrote them off. It was really weird. They're like, go to bed, kids. You're going to disappear in a second. We love you.
When she's got the book open, though, and she's hexing with the book at the very end credit, you can hear them, right?
Yeah.
The end credits that Alan didn't see,
Yes.
Billy and Tommy were yelling for help.
I know what happened in it, guys. I just didn't see it. All right? I will go...
Is it the same, though? Is it the same as seeing it? I don't know.
Listen, I will go watch it. I'll go watch it right now. Give me a second.
I was gonna say, YouTube probably. I'm sure like shit tons of channels have re-uploaded that now.
I mean, like I said, people were messaging me, talking to me about it, and I was just like, shit, you know. Like, so I did have
Is coming out this year or not?
No, it's next year. A lot of almost pretty much Marvel's. I think this year is sticking strict.
This year, though, right?
What's that?
Eternals is, but I don't think it's a movie. It's a show. So what else? Is it a movie? Is it? Okay. Because I was under the impression Marvel was sticking to shows strictly for this year to push us into movies next year. Disney, I thought, made a comment saying they're not going to release any movies in 2021.
Whoa.
I
mean, because they have they don't have any for this phase,
they're all like super late in the year. Like Spider-Man is November, or Eternals is November.
December, I think they're planned. If they do anything this year, movie theater wise, like around then. I think at that point they kind of figure like hopefully things will be relatively okay to kind of show things in theaters again without taking a huge hit in profit or whatever.
I know, but I really enjoy streaming everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna go to the theater anytime soon. I don't care how separated you are from me. I don't want to be in that environment right now. But
I didn't like going to the theater before. So.
Yeah. I could see them sticking to the Disney Plus model though.
It's working just fine.
Yeah, it's like
$30, which is a lot.
No, but I understand they're not making a lot of money in the.
Oh, I bet they're making bank
with the shows.
Oh, no. When people buy the premium thing, I bet you like The Last Dragon. Oh my God, they're gonna be rolling in cash. Like we're gonna buy it today. Spoiler.
I just
it's definitely a price. Like I was talking with someone else about this, like where certain movies have been released for like $20 for like early access thing. It's if you're a single viewer, that kind of sucked. As soon as you get into like couple pricing or whatever, it's like $20 is about what I spend at the theater as is.
Oh,
Or
we
if you're
do more
like
than that. Our kids make us buy
like,
popcorn.
Yeah, and when you have kids, it's even more than that.
Yeah.
Pretty high.
I mean, I enjoy sitting on my own couch and watching stuff. So, but let's get us back on topic here.
Yes.
So I had a note about. I thought about Agatha. So she took all her abilities from her basically at the end there, or at least appears like she did, and then she hexes her to say, "You will live in this as what's her Agnes? You'll live as Agnes in this area for as long as I want you to, right? And then I know where to find you." But then she closed the walls. So is that character still cursed to live as Agnes?
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so.
She's
So-
gonna live.
Because she did the little mind thing to her.
So basically, so her abilities can hex somebody and stay with them. Because I was under the impression her hex only lasted for X amounts of time. Unless
Here's the real question: is she gonna slum it with Ralph Boner, who now knows who she is and knows what Agatha did to him? Like, how awkward is that? Poor guy.
what if he really is Pietro and they gave him a different name and that's how they're hiding him?
He still had super speed. I'm still confused about
Exactly, he still had the speed.
She's getting
I'm thinking
to,
the
like,
super
the
speed was
Darcy's
her
lipstick is red.
powers,
She's
though.
Mephisto levels of
Oh, you think the speed was part of her giving him the abilities?
Yeah.
She had like a charm or something on him too. So
yeah.
So that his charm was purple too. So that character was being controlled by Agatha, not Wanda. So
I heard it pointed out in a Nerdist video that the only reason Monica saw the purple was because she's able to perceive all these different frequencies of energy. That's why nobody else saw the purple glow on the necklace. I thought that was a really neat little detail.
yeah.
Oh, I have another question. Okay,
Yeah,
so
totally.
Agatha had the Darkhold. The
yes,
Darkhold, as we know, causes people to become kind of worse than they already were. How long has she had it? Has she had it since the Salem witch trial scene? Is that what they were implying in that scene? Or because it shows up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so how did they get it if she's had it this whole time?
in the comic books, the Darkhold was created by Nightmare, if I remember correctly, and I don't know if he gives it away to somebody.
There's an illusion.
I don't know anything in
theory-
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should be accounted for, to be honest.
What's that?
I'm
theory
okay with that.
There was
We might
a
have-
theory that it was
I think
stolen from.
Disney long forgot.
Hold on a second, guys. We're gonna have to start raising hands here.
Take a number.
Okay, Lucas, what were you saying?
I was just saying that there's a theory right now that it was stolen from the Ancient Ones library, and because like if you
Oh
look at
yeah,
it,
the missing book
where you're seeing the forbidden books, and
Yeah.
there's like one or two that are missing.
in Doctor Strange. That's right. They never really tell you which book is missing from that.
So like there's some suggestions that like it might have been. It's one of those things that they can write later.
I mean, they just keep those books in a library with like one guard when there should be like a bazillion dudes just standing in there all day long.
Yeah.
That's cocky.
One guard listening to Beyonce.
Albert said the scene by the mountain, I assume, instantly reminded him of Alkali Lake at the very end. What's Alkali Lake? Why can't I remember that?
That's X2.
It's from X-Men.
Oh, where Cyclops gets exploded. Oh, that's where they perform the experiments on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I don't think that's
I
it.
think
That's
also
too, where,
might be-
like you see the phoenix in the water and you realize,
I remember
like, oh,
that.
geez. Yeah.
And then you realize Wolverine's Canadian, and we're all good. Well, let me see here. Agatha's revealed to have been living in Paul Boner's home. I almost said Bonner to be nice to him. Boner's
It's
home
not
all along.
Bonner, it's
Going
Bonner.
back to the third episode, Agnes was giving Vision some info about Geraldine in order to make her seem suspicious, which yeah. In the end, she's secretly describing herself. Does this-
Okay, question.
Yeah.
Who was Jimmy Woo was investigating Westview because
They never tell you.
That's right.
they
Yeah.
never tell you. And I really wanted Ralph Boner to have secretly been Ant-Man but tiny the whole time. And that's
But
why
yeah, they never tell
that's
you
why
who
she
he's
was
there
Ralph.
for.
It would have been
Right.
great.
Yeah.
Unless
Is
I
it
missed
actually
an
the
Easter egg.
missing town? Yeah.
Let me
Is it
see.
supposed to be like the missing town, and then everyone forgot about Westview when Wanda put up the hex?
I'm trying to see if I have anything in my notes.
Maybe they're keeping that in their back pocket for the first episode of the Hex Files.
Well, there's an
Oh
anime
man,
coming
we're gonna
out,
keep
right?
pushing the Hex
Oh
Files
my
so they
God,
use
did you
it.
say Hex Files?
Yeah.
Carey said Hex Files on the last time, and I think that's a brilliant name for the show.
Did? Oh,
And-
I didn't come
Lord.
up with it. I read it somewhere.
Oh, Carey.
No, I mean,
Way to disappoint.
sorry, I'm
Just lie to us a little longer, man. So I did take some notes about Doctor Strange because I figured Doctor Strange was going to come up at some point. And so Sam Raimi, director of Doctor Strange, which I know. What did it say? Olsen's Wanda will be playing a significant role once directed a film called Oz the Great and Powerful, which is playing in the corner. What? That's a stupid note. I don't know why I made that note. Oh, okay. Here,
Oh,
post
can we take
credits.
a moment?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no! Please say what you're gonna say. It's just verbal shit posting.
So the rumor was that they might start in the cabin. They might start Doctor Strange in that cabin because Sam Raimi, whatever, he filmed Evil Dead in a cabin. So they're gonna try to connect those two and then pop off from there.
The whole
Yeah.
movie begins and ends in the cabin.
So what I wrote, I just copy paste. Interestingly enough, this is the post credits features zooming on a cabin, which I haven't seen yet, as we all figured out already. Interesting enough, this is a hype for Doctor Strange 2, directed by Sam Raimi. Raimi gets his start as Evil Dead director. The first two of these movies centered around a demonic cabin that was filled with plenty of over the top zooming shots. We write about how this Evil Dead connection specifically sets up Wanda's connection to Doctor Strange 2 here. So there's a link to that on this. Obviously, I don't remember what website I got this from. Kudos to my notes.
Nice.
So there's an idea there that, like if you were to say the cabin is cursed and that's where the Darkhold came from or whatever, you can easily put Nightmare. Because Doctor Strange 2 is supposed to introduce Nightmare. I don't know if he's an easier character to introduce than Mephisto. I really feel like if you introduce Mephisto, people would lose their goddamn minds. It would be amazing. So...
I still don't know if they're going to do it or not. I mean, I know there was in the Loki trailer, you see like an Easter egg of him in like a stained glass thing, and I just wonder is it going to be just kind of left to that, or if they're going to go that route.
If they do like a Thanos route, you're not going to see him for like 3 years from now. There'll be references.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
wait, here it is. Here it is. Are you ready?
Yes.
Mephisto, played by Matthew McConaughey.
No, man, he was a terrible...
No, we got Owen Wilson. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. I want stupid shit. Sorry. Okay. Please continue with your serious.
Matthew McConaughey played the Man in Black. He played the Man in Black in Dark Tower, and he sucked. So...
Didn't he play the devil in some other movie, too?
I'll say it right here, Matthew McConaughey. You sucked in that role. Come get me if you got a problem with that.
Damn.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to Alan.
He's going to show up at my house with a bottle of whiskey. He's going to crack that shit upside my head is what's going to happen.
It's going to be good.
I'm just kidding. I really like Matthew McConaughey, but I did not like him in that role.
Right, so now he has to redeem himself as Mephisto. That doesn't make any sense. But neither did Owen Wilson, and we got that, so I'm just hoping some Marvel exec out there is listening to me.
Wait, Owen Wilson was...
is Loki's handler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't remember the trailer.
Glorious
The time
knows.
variance.
Oh.
I don't remember
like
the
in
trailer.
an elevator, and he's got a neck thing and cuffs.
Oh,
You don't remember
yeah.
that?
And he's great.
No, I don't.
How can you not?
And he's great.
I saw it like during
Clearly
Super Bowl or
someone
whatever, and I haven't seen it
stand
since.
Owen Wilson.
Y'all need to relax the fuck up.
You didn't
So-
watch the last.
Listen, now I'm gonna have to go watch it because Albert's over here saying. Albert over here says, "Why are there two Wandas in the cabin, or is one on the outside just an illusion?" Now I'm thinking,
there
were
were
there?
two Wandas in the cabin. Yeah, she's sipping her tea, chilling in her like
No way.
linen sweatsuit that's very like Ancient Ones-esque. And then she goes into the house, and they do another shot that goes through the cabin, and it's like a really cute little cabin. Then all of a sudden, there's freaky motherfucking Scarlet Witch with Chthon arms everywhere.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Everyone watching the show is gonna have to wait a second while I'm watching this.
Okay, it's fine. You watch this, and I will tell you guys about the Paul Bettany interview where he said that there was he was like, really excited to work with another actor.
He needs
Another
vaccine.
character they're going to introduce in the last episode, and it was fucking White Vision. So he was excited to act with himself, and that was the fucking greatest bullshit I've
He
ever
trolled
seen.
all of us.
Yeah.
He did.
That's kind of a dick move.
Good troll.
It's kind of a dick move, Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
No, Paul Bettany is adorable. He's like a bucket of puppies, but like in a human form.
bucket of puppies.
Oh,
I have
how
lots of hot
was
takes.
everyone's personal theories with it? Because like, I remember like a lot of the stuff I was kind of thinking they were going to go with it. Like I think one thing kind of panned out semi halfway with the Vision thing. Like it didn't pan out quite exactly how I thought it would, but kind of did the same sort of beats. Everything else I got wrong. Like everything else was like way off. The only other thing is like I still think Wanda's being set up as like the big bad.
Mhm.
I hate that.
Really just seems it's going that way.
I don't want her to be the big bad. She's
I-
gotten
I-
shit on throughout the whole MCU, and she gets shit on in the comics, and I'm like, I'm so sick of it. Like,
I
just
like
putting that out
it's
there.
part of a long-running story, and I think
As
she
long
will
as she
emerge
gets
from the end of it.
redemption arc, yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I
it's
think that's
really
what's going
just,
on.
it's gonna be hard to watch for Wanda
Yeah.
fans.
They
So-
could introduce mutants in like a House of M movie. They did Civil War in only one movie, and it was like a smaller version of the comics. So they could do a smaller version of House of M, and like
They could. I would love for them. Yes, Albert. I hadn't seen it. I watched it just now. I forgot to watch
Oh,
the
shit,
Easter egg.
we're so
Anyone who's
excited.
just tuning into the show, my ass forgot to watch the last Easter egg. All right, just watched it.
And now
and-
you've seen it.
I don't think that second one is an illusion. That's definitely her casting her abilities. That's how strong she is. She can be in multiple places at once, which gives off the idea of the multiverse. And also, having seen it just now, I could hear the kids call for help. So those kids are.
The kids yelling for help.
It's possible that she didn't disintegrate them when the walls closed in and sent them off to a multiverse. But
A pocket roll. Yeah.
and you don't know where they are.
not enough pocket universes. They're coming.
I mean, that's
That's so weird.
that's going to lead to a whole secondary issue with Marvel, right? Because if you read everything that led up to the last Secret Wars, there's so many multiverses, and at some point they all start clashing and causing all sorts of issues, and you have to like bring them all together to bring them down to only a few multiverses. And I think now there's only 2 of them, if I remember correctly. The 616, and then I forget the other one is, but 616 being the main one.
The Squadron Supreme universe, or
Maybe there's 3 of them. I don't remember how many are left, but I remember I think they call them the Illuminati in the comics themselves. It's basically the Black Panther and Captain America, Doctor Strange, Nick
right.
Fury.
Professor X.
They put the gauntlet back together, and they try to bring the universes back together, and they fuck up.
Did you guys?
royally.
Did you guys see
It was a
the
cool
interview
storyline.
with Agatha's actress?
Catherine Hahn. On where?
Yeah. Did you see the one where she did? I think it was the shit. What's the one that used to the Daily Show? I think that used to have Jon Stewart, but now it has the other guy. Maybe it wasn't the Daily Show.
Trevor
Fuck, I
Noah.
don't know.
Trevor
It was
Noah?
No, it wasn't Trevor Noah. You're right. It was some other show. It was some late night talk show. I don't know. I watched it on YouTube, so I have no
just
idea.
saw her
But
in-
she, yeah,
I just saw her in Jimmy Kimmel, but I think she's been on like all of them. So
maybe it was Jimmy. I don't know. I don't like talk shows, but I watched it because I like her, and she showed off her Infinity Gauntlet that her kids made,
Yeah.
and it like had the Mind Stone and another stone, but it was missing stones, and there was fan theories about that. Like,
Oh,
guys,
jeez.
Oh,
her
goodness.
kids made with super glue. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved
she's
every
like,
second
someone
of it.
fell off. Yeah.
Yeah, some of them fell off, and people were like, "What does it mean?" And I'm like, "I think it means that super glue. It wasn't super glue. It was like Elmer's glue. I think that's what
I
that
think that
means."
was Fallon.
Was
is
it
that,
Fallon? I don't know.
is that the one where they did they did their own spoof of WandaVision? Did you see
I
that one?
only saw the interview.
Okay,
I
I,
don't
I
know.
think they transitioned from that into a spoof where she and Jimmy go through the years just like they did on the show. They skip 2 decades at a time to make it shorter, but yeah,
Right.
but it's worth a watch.
Did you guys see the shots from the new Thor movie where someone filmed them filming there's another fake play explaining the plot of the last Thor movie in it?
Oh, that's great.
That's so cute. Yes, I'm so glad they brought that stupid shit back.
They brought Matt Damon back. And, Sam.
Yes, they brought Matt Damon and the other Hemsworth.
Excellent.
And what's her name? The chick who plays oh my god.
Valkyrie?
Sif?
No, not Valkyrie, the scary one with the cool hair. The one.
Oh, Hela.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I can't. There's the comedian who plays Hela. I can't remember, but she was in the Ghostbusters remake. Can't remember her name
Kristen
now.
Wiig?
Um,
No,
I know who you're talking about. I
Oh,
can't
Melissa
remember her
McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy?
Yes, Melissa
Melissa-
McCarthy
yeah,
plays.
yeah.
Yes, they have her
Yeah.
Helen.
Holy
It's
crap.
fucking funny.
I haven't
love
seen it.
Oh my
I'm
gosh, I
super
gotta
here
see
for
that.
it.
I have
It's
seen
okay, Alan. We know you haven't seen things.
Hey, some of us have things to do, in case you didn't know. I don't sit around watching YouTube all day, apparently. That's what I need to do.
My partner comes to me with her phone and is like, "Did you see this new hot take?"
My wife doesn't come to me
No.
with
I'm
shit
like,
other than a list of things to do.
feeding our kids.
All right, getting us back on topic.
Yep. sorry.
I wrote a note about Jimmy Woo. So Jimmy Woo puts in a call to someone at FBI named Cliff, and I thought he was calling Hawkeye, but Hawkeye's name is Clint. Yeah. So I heard it so quickly, I was like, did he just call Hawkeye? And then what I wrote is there's a one-off character from Marvel Comics named Cliff Randall, a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who appeared in exactly one story. This is the rumor, right? And in this case, it's probably just a coincidence.
Would have been funnier if it was supposed to be Hawkeye, but no one remembers his name because it's Hawkeye. It's like Cliff, Clyde.
Sure, I'll be there. Hangs up.
I'm on my way. I gotta run there. I wanted to see more with that character. I'm really hoping that it's true that they're gonna make a Darcy Jimmy Woo spin-off series, like the Hex Files, as Carey has pointed out he didn't come up with.
They're really cool side characters. I wouldn't mind a lot more of them.
I would be okay if they were like the new like
Jimmy Woo.
who just shows up in everything, right? You know.
Yeah.
Because they haven't done much with Maria Hill, and like, you know, she's a good character. I like that actress, but she's just like spouting exposition or just on the side. So I feel like they're not going to do more with her.
Yeah, they didn't really they kind of like just use her here and there as a secondary character, and she's an awesome character in the comic books.
She seems important, but we don't really get to know her.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick Fury's got to utilize her. That's why they seem to really be digging into the Skrulls, though. Every time there's it's like I don't want to say cop out, but it's like that easy, like, oh, we didn't know you were this character. That's because I'm a Skrull, you know? And you're just like, come on, man. How many more times are you going to throw me? Like, where she's just like, shows up at the end there, and she's like, he wants to talk to you. I'm like, why? Where were you guys this whole time?
Yeah.
Like, you clearly know, Monica's running around doing all this wild ass shit. You clearly are watching her level up to potentially being called Photon. She has other names, obviously. My guess is
Spectrum.
Spectrum, yeah.
Spectrum,
I think that's what they're going to go with.
They're going to go with Spectrum?
I said I think.
Spectrum.
No, I thought they would go with Photon because her mother's nickname was Photon.
Yeah, but see, I thought they would.
I think they're not going to go with that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, I guess you don't want to recycle that character's name and come up with something cool.
I think they drop that in there just to appease the fans of Photon, but every time she uses her powers, she sees the full electromagnetic spectrum. So that's why I think she's going with that.
That makes sense. Way to put some logic in there.
How weird Wanda's I realize the Wanda's kid thing is from the comics, but it's like I'm probably the only person in this call who knows the plot of the Twilight novels.
No, surprisingly, I know that plot.
I know some of it. Creepy thing with her
I know there's sparkles or something.
Grows.
Right.
Yeah, it's the word. Yeah, there's sparkles, but no, she has a kid, and then because I guess the author doesn't want to have to deal with like the implications of having a kid with your creepy vampire boy toy, they just instantly magically make her an adult.
Yeah, because the author's. I think the author's heavily Mormon.
Adult? I thought she just became like a weird, creepy, precocious child of the corn.
No,
I don't know. I thought she became a teenager.
She becomes like a young adult. Not young. She becomes almost a teenager. She's like I think she when the book ends, that the character's kid is like 10 years old or something weird. But that's weird. That's one of those series. That's one of those series I read because my one of my friends was like, "This is a good. You like horror novels. You like vampire books. You might want to read this." And I thought,
somebody told
sure.
you it was good.
Ugh.
Let's just
talk to that person.
Unfortunately, yes, I do. But I should have stopped. I should have stopped reading in the first book when he starts sparkling in the sunlight. I should have been like, "This dude didn't explode. Something's weird's happening here. Stop reading this book." But I thought it's interesting. It's an interesting read. I'm gonna keep reading it, and I hated it. I didn't hate the books until the last book really because I wanted the giant battle, and I got nothing. And then you didn't.
You got friendship is magic.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck just happened? And I just remember reading up on the author, and she was very like I guess she's Mormon, which is whatever, but she also is very like she didn't want to touch on subjects like childbirth or a battle. She didn't want these guys fighting the whole time, and I'm just like,
I don't want
yo,
to touch on childbirth. So the baby daddy is going to chew his way through the wounds.
yeah, let's not go into details on it. But like,
don't-
you know,
don't write
she
the
had
book
she
if
had
you
she had
don't wanna
these.
go there.
Well, you had dueling, you had like fighting family, like families that are against each other, and then they don't fight at the end. I'm just like, and I heard in the movies that you actually get a battle. I've not watched the movies because I just can't. After the books, I was like, I'm fucking out.
I watched the riff tracks of the movies. And
I probably should just watch some YouTube highlights, but
The Earth
only
splits
reason-
open. That's all I know.
but in the so
only
getting
reason I
back to
brought this up-
Wanda and her kids,
Yeah,
you know,
sorry.
like those kids are.
Yeah, I brought up
in the
that
comic
it's
books-
Weird.
Well, in the comic books, the angle is Mephisto is involved in their birth.
Right,
Mhm.
but now
Um,
they're not. Now he's not. So
And I
it's
think
like,
they did that
why
on purpose because they don't want to
Yeah.
bring him in. Like that's why I feel like they're not going to bring Mephisto in.
Disney's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah, but see, if
steer of the devil as long as they can.
What'd you say, Lucas?
Disney's gonna steer away from like using the devil imagery as long as they
Yeah,
can.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Was Mephisto like always the thing with that, or was that retconned in later? Because I thought it was originally just that she created like they're basically like a subconscious thing, and as long as she was aware of them, they existed. But as soon as she
No, in the comic books, if I remember correctly, I forget how his essence is essentially in those two kids. And I forget how that happens, but
well, was that always the original story, or was that something that they later?
I think there's only one story with the kids in the comic books, and that's it.
Okay.
Because he comes back later, and he takes them back. Essentially, he's like, "These are my kids."
It's just the whole thing with the kids is weird to me because she's theoretically only had those kids for like 5 days.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I look like they're her.
I wonder if they were born before in another universe.
It's real weird.
I mean, they could be
I don't
alive in a
know.
multiverse, right? And that's how she feels them at such a high
I
level.
was genuinely shocked when they started to disappear when she started to dissolve the hex. I was like, they're not going to do that. They're not going to dissolve the kids, and they did. And I was like, holy shit, Disney, slow the fuck down, sit down.
I mean,
like,
They're
I
gonna be
think it's pointing to what comes next in the story.
Yeah.
right?
no, it makes sense now that they've showed with the final scene with her trying to get them back. Like, okay,
Right,
now
yeah.
I understand. It was set up as sort of like a reason for her to read the Darkhold or whatever.
Yeah.
But still weird.
Because like the Darkhold is probably
Give me
gonna.
Twilight vibes.
The Darkhold is probably what she's going to use to bring her kids from the multiverse into this universe, I assume. Yeah, she
They're
seemed.
gonna be Young Avengers.
I mean, I was gonna say like between
Young
that,
Avengers, yeah.
Disney wants like the Young Avengers because
They
like
do.
teen superheroes. Oh, that's some.
And when those kids are 16, they're gonna be old enough to star in Young Avengers
Yep.
in 4 or 5 years.
So I know in the new animated series they have a and it's not that new, but it's kind of new. The new one with Squirrel Girl and Kamala Khan as Marvel, they have a team that's led by Quake. That's not the new Avengers, is it? What is that?
Quake
Secret
from
You know what I'm talking about?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah, Quake from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. leads a team that
could be
is
Secret
like Kamala
Warriors.
Khan, Miss Marvel. Yeah, I think it is Secret Warriors because it's
The-
Kamala Khan, Squirrel
yeah.
Girl. It's the
Let's
the
see.
girl with the Iron Man suit that's not Iron Man.
Ironheart.
Y'all know?
Riri Williams.
Ironheart.
Yeah.
Ironheart.
Ironheart,
Yes, Ironheart. That's the one.
Yeah, Secret Warriors popped in during Secret Invasion. Nick Fury was like, I got the secret team of young superheroes.
Yep.
Surprise. And they had like a cool series and they fight Hydra and stuff. But they were led by Quake. They had a magician, they had a speedster.
Oh yeah, they got what's her name? Colossus's
Like-
sister.
Oh, who's Colossus' sister?
What is her name? She's got the sword. She could hop to the multiverse.
Magic. Is that who it is? Or
Yeah, Magic. Yeah.
Oh, and on the team they had Ares' son, who was like a little kid. He was like the god of something. But anyway.
Oh, Ares' son is on this team. I have to look up Secret Warriors again because I remember what
See,
you're
I've
talking
only
about
seen
with
the-
Nick Fury showing
I've
up,
only
but
seen the cartoon, and I don't think I don't know if it's just that they didn't introduce them yet. But from what I've seen of the cartoon, they only have like half of the people you've mentioned.
Right.
Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. And then
Should
in
be
the newer Spider-Man animated series, they have I don't know what they're calling. Is the Hero Initiative or something, or Hero Training, where they've got like the not Hulk, who's like the second smartest guy in the world or something, and then they have Ironheart again, I think, in that one.
Which series was
And
this?
she's not at all related. The new Superman, sorry, new Spider-Man Ultimate, maybe? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the name of the show. I just know that I've been binging it with my children. So
I think Ultimate is a different multiverse. So here's another note I made about
Ultimate Spider-Man a little bit.
I made another note about the ancient one. Basically, it says, according to Agatha Harkness, the Scarlet Witch's power exceeds that of even the Sorcerer Supreme. That's significant because it means Wanda should be capable of feats of magic that will be beyond even the Ancient One. Disturbingly, though, right now the Earth doesn't have a Sorcerer Supreme to protect it anymore. The Ancient One died in Doctor Strange, and Stephen Strange has yet to prove himself worthy to become the next Sorcerer Supreme. So
off against Nightmare.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing somehow him and her will have to fight Nightmare. Implicit references to Chthon, the god of chaos magic. Okay, so here's a note I made for that. Agatha Harkness claims that Scarlet Witch is destined to destroy the world, presumably alluding to the fact that she is an agent of chaos magic, chosen as a pawn. Am I saying this name right? Chthon? Chthon. Later, as the confrontation with Agatha and Wanda comes to an end, she claims Wanda has no idea what she's done by claiming the full power of the Scarlet Witch, specifically that she has no idea that what she's unleashed. In the comics, every time chaos magic is used, it weakens the fabric of reality, potentially allowing Chthon to break through. Which, okay.
Cool.
That would be
I mean,
cool.
maybe
okay, so
the prompt to the next, Doctor Strange movie is, her messing with his book. Opens it up for Chthon,
Yeah, I mean, you got to bring him in somehow.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just reading through my notes. Feel free to voice any opinions.
Yeah, I mean, we might be getting more into magic in this phase. Okay, so if this.
Well, because you've got Loki in this phase too, as far as
Loki,
magic goes.
you've got another Thor movie, so I mean, yeah.
Also, Loki perfectly able to be in two places at once. Like, he tricks you, he's over here, but actually he's over here.
Yeah.
Anyway, same thing that Wanda's doing.
Well, and even Doctor Strange did that in Infinity War, right? He did the multi person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when he
So
was,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So-
One of my favorite.
I've heard tell that when Wanda
And he becomes
was doing
butterflies.
the multi-person.
Sorry, what?
How was that, Tyler?
Oh, when Wanda was doing the multi-person thing, I thought that one thing that my partner had said, her theory was that she was keeping her body alive, but using her magic to read the Darkhold. So, like, that was her body on autopilot, basically.
Oh,
I see.
Yeah.
It's
While
kind of
her
like
mental
form?
energies are focused.
Yeah, I thought it was like a Doctor Strange kind of thing, like where like him and like Ancient One and all that can basically push their crap. What's it called? Like their spiritual presence outside their body.
Astral projecting, yes.
Yeah.
She's
Astral
astral
projecting.
projecting to read the Darkhold while her body
So,
was on autopilot. Basically, it's like listening to an audiobook while you make coffee, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But, the audiobook is the Darkhold.
So the thing my cousin
It's
just
like
sent me
Inception.
was, he sent me a note from his notes. Basically, Scarlet Witch is seen reading the Darkhold, which, again, I finally watched, by using the sort of astral duplicate, allowing her to do two things at once. This is exactly the same approach Stephen Strange uses, allowing him to absorb significant knowledge at speed. Wanda's clearly grown significant in her powers, given she is doing this without any hint of formal training. And that's kind of interesting too, right? She knows all her abilities without having been trained to use her abilities, but it's also possible Doctor Strange has shown her how to do this. We don't know. We're assuming it based on one scene.
She seems to be able to intuit a lot of abilities. Like, she absorbed some of Agatha's power, right? So it's possible that by doing that, she learned how to do all this shit. And became,
It's also possible she knew all this stuff.
Full Scarlet Witch and was like,
Yeah, but it's also possible she already knew how to do these things.
There we go.
Because she tells Agatha, she's like, what did she say? Something like, "Don't tell me who I am. Like, I already know. Like, she already knows who she is.
I already know who I am, yeah.
Yeah, I already know who I am. So she already knows she's got these abilities, I think, and she keeps them at bay. And now she's like full on. She turned it up to 11,
Yeah.
Yeah, Oh, okay. So, but I have another question regarding the Darkhold and what they did with it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I kind of agree with the take that we're just Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is dead and not part of the canon anymore. But in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Ada reads the Darkhold and it makes her go kooky.
Sure.
So if Agatha had the Darkhold from the beginning, did she go super evil because she read the Darkhold? I know she's chaotic neutral in the comics, and she does do shitty things occasionally in the comics, but she's not always like a piece of crap. You know what I mean? Like, whereas in WandaVision, she had moments like where she was genuinely helpful, but for the most part, she was being a piece of crap.
I mean, I would assume she read it because she's literally like paging through it when she's fighting her on the streets.
Right. But I'm wondering, like, is now that she doesn't have the Darkhold anymore, is she gonna come back as like a less shitty? Like, is she gonna come back and help Wanda like she does in the comics, or are they writing her off
probably
forever?
not because she doesn't have the Darkhold. Probably more is like if you can't beat them, join them, sort of mentality.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, like I think
respect that.
her penance, like her time in this state is going to change her in a way, like where she's like, oh, you know what, I'm turning a new leaf here or something like that.
Or she'll just keep her under control, you know.
Yeah.
She's clearly got a hex on her, so she could just be like, you work for me now.
I love that outtake where she's like, I bit a kid once.
I bit you. Carey.
What?
Carey wrote, I'm actually mowing the grass. I'm just astral projecting into the podcast.
Oh my god. Well, can you show the rest of us how to do that shit? Because holy crap.
That'd be amazing.
Two places at once, yeah, that'd be helpful.
That would be a great trick to know.
Yeah.
See, it's obviously Wanda didn't know how to do it before, or there would have been a lot more of that in her sitcom TV life. Like, she would have astral projected cooking dinner.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Yeah, she
Instead
definitely
of-
learned a bunch of stuff from Magnus, from absorbing all of her stuff.
What were you saying, Tom?
Apparently she learned how to be a bad bitch. God damn.
Oh, I was going
Or
to say...
she was just kind of nice and sad.
She was trying to get over things. It was all about dealing with
You
grief.
can relate.
What were you trying to
I
say,
had to
Tom?
trap my entire town.
Oh.
I was kind of bummed that Hayward kind of ended up being like, I just don't like super people. I just don't like Wanda. And
Right.
like there wasn't any more depth to him. It was just...
I mean, there might be something there that we haven't seen about him. Like, they just basically arrested him, right? So
Right.
there's a chance that his story's not over yet, because he did seem a little bit like I'm up to an evil plan, and I just executed it like an idiot at the end, you know?
Yeah, he was the worst.
Like, he just bum rushed into the wall. I'm like, you're just gonna go... So here's the other thing.
Yeah.
And this was a thought I had. They all rushed through the wall when she tried to take it down. And then when she realized it was killing Vision, she put it back up real quick. But none of them changed. Their tanks were still tanks.
Transformed, yep.
Because they didn't go through it.
They they're already inside it.
They're already inside it. Yeah.
But everything else inside of it is already transformed. You mean like because the wall has to like brush through it?
Well, but
Maybe
because it's
push
modern
through
times,
it
right?
initially. Yeah.
Like,
There's some logic there.
Maybe on
But
some level, she has to actually make the change.
Right.
it would be fun if some of the military guys turned into like a milkman or like a police
Right.
officer.
Yeah.
Like they start firing their guns and it's like confetti coming out of it or something. You know, I don't know. That would have been funny. But I also, on the other hand, I was like, they purposely did that because they want you to see Monica's abilities kick in, and they want you to see her kids super speed through, and then the other kid can apparently stop things. Is the other kid like Magneto? Is that what he was doing, or is he controlling things like Wanda?
I can't remember. He's got powers in the comics too, though.
it's like Wanda.
Yeah,
I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they were basically like a Pietro and Wanda.
Yeah. Part two.
Similes.
Like many versions.
Yeah.
Did anyone get the Incredibles vibe when the whole family was like
Yes.
getting ready to
Yeah.
fight 'em? Just like look like Incredibles? Kids.
It
Handle
was
the
so
military.
cute.
Mm-hmm. You're like, you were born for this. What?
Yeah.
I'd be like, I really don't. I'd be like, they got guns and shit, man. What are you talking about? You want me to just go there and fight?
I know. That was a little scary for me. I was like, as someone who has kids, like I know they have superpowers, but like Hayward just tried to shoot your kids with a gun. Like also, boy, that was a real. Up to that point, he was like, oh, I'm evil, but like I'm evil for a reason. Then all of a sudden, he's about to shoot kids. I know they aren't like.
That dude was
In his
pulling the
opinion,
trigger
they're
on an
not
empty
real
clip
kids.
still.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea of how much he hates those kids. He was just like,
Yeah,
click,
it was
click,
so
click,
they're
click.
Kids, dude. Like even if they're like imaginary powered kids, like whoa.
I did
That was
like
a tone
I
change
did like
for
that
me.
shot with the family standing together because I wish they would do more. That's like a comic shot, like like when they fight Onslaught, you got all the X-Men together, and Captain America's like, Wolverine, you go low, and Spider-Man, you go high, and it's like, and they're in the middle, right? Or Cyclops, you go high, or whatever it is. But they have that like, it's almost like a graduation photo. you're like, are you guys all standing on beams? What's going on here? But they don't do that in the shows or comics enough. Like, give us those cool comic book action shots that we love, man, because our brains will trigger and love it.
Yeah, I think it was great in like the first Avengers and Age of Ultron. The first Avengers to do the camera around, and then Ultron at the very beginning when they slow mo, they're all like from the side.
Yeah.
Yep,
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was a great shot. Like,
there's some really good shots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like giving
There are
us
some good
those.
shots.
It was basically
Questionable
a
writing.
movie version of like a splash page from the comics.
Yeah.
Like,
that's exactly right, and that's what we want. I'm trying to see if I missed
Some
anything.
good splash pages when they all
Did
come at each
you-
other.
Have you guys been keeping up with like the Reddit or like the things people are mad about on Reddit more specifically?
No, tell us.
My wife is doing that.
Apparently, a lot of people are really, and maybe this is not the hottest hot take, but I have heard that a lot of people are upset because they feel like the giving of Wanda's sort of redemption at the end, and then Monica saying that they'll never know how you suffered, disregards the suffering of all the townspeople. But I think that's been like an ongoing theme in the MCU with Wanda, because like the incident that spawned the Sokovian Accords, and then the one where they're on the mission and she teleports the bomb and it hits the building or whatever.
Yeah.
A bunch of civilians die and she gets grounded, like literally grounded, which was really funny. Like that's like an ongoing thing with Wanda. She doesn't understand her powers, and there's a lot of collateral damage, but a lot of it is because like no one has reached out to try and help her, I guess, besides Vision and like for 5 seconds Captain America. And
Cat
I
tried.
thought that was interesting, but like apparently people are really mad or some people, I don't think a lot of people, but some people are mad on the internet about it, and I don't super agree. I think that the townspeople suffering is important. But she didn't do it on purpose. Like,
yes, it wasn't intentional.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional, and that's the thing that I think is being disregarded. Is like a lot of when she does this stuff, she's not bombing a building. She's trying to save someone or whatever. In this case, the person she was trying to save was Vision. And I mean, if you had to look at your loved one dissected on a table in some dude's office and have them tell you that you can't have their body because it doesn't belong to you anymore, I think you'd go full psycho. I'd go full psycho. Just FYI.
Mm-hmm.
What else
ties directly?
Do what?
Oh, what else on Reddit have they been complaining about?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I think that was the Monica is disregarding everybody's suffering with that line.
I know people were upset with. I think in the episode before when Vision said,
"Oh, the grief thing." Oh my god.
Yeah, where he said like,
thing. Oh.
Yeah, people were like, "I don't agree with that. That's not right." Blah blah. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be philosophical. We're not asking you to like. This isn't like you're not supposed to live your life by what a robot in a Marvel TV show says. This is just
synthetic android.
Something.
Excuse me.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. He would pass a CAPTCHA test. He's
yes.
He
would pass the Voight Comp test with no problems.
His IQ.
But yeah, no, people were mad. I'm like, okay, but who the hell goes out and lives their life like, oh, well, Vision said that grief is love persevering, so I'm gonna wallow in my sadness for the rest of time. Like, no. No one
it's like that's not what he meant.
Like you've got a lot more deep-seated issues, perhaps, than what Vision. A one-off line from.
I mean, it's also the same people are upset that he gave you a philosophy lesson in the middle of that battle, right? But the lesson is important for you to understand that he is the same. They're both the same person, and also not the same person, right? They've changed.
Yeah, also, it wouldn't have been very vision-y to sit there and use his forehead laser and not say anything.
I mean, I thought it was cool that they gave you a little bit of a battle. Little pocket battles before you got to that, because if they gone straight into that, people would have been really pissed, more so than they are at the moment. And I was trying to figure that out too. I'm like, how is he firing that because on the original Vision, it's the Mind Stone that's firing that ability. So I want to know what's inside that new Vision. Like, I want to know what technology is in there that's apparently worth 3 trillion. Right? Is that what we established?
Billion.
Was it 3 billion?
That's where our stimulus money went.
Wasn't that the wasn't that the vibranium?
It's the vibranium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they used to focus a lot on like Tony Stark's power source and blah blah blah, and how it was a big deal. Now they're just like, whatever, we got power sources galore. Like it's, we can have a bunch of robots flying around with their own power source.
I mean, if you've got, where does the vibranium come from? That comes from Wakanda, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they have.
Well, it was the what was it? In Age of Ultron. It was a stash of vibranium that Claw stole.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Claw stole it.
Mhm.
Claw stole it and Ultron took it from him to turn it into basically his new body, which then got stolen by the Avengers to get turned into Vision.
Yep.
It's still basically like, besides that and Captain America's shield, those are like the only bits of vibranium that exist outside of Wakanda. That's free.
I think Winter Soldier's arm is also vibranium.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
the black and
it
gold.
is.
Yeah.
But also, fake Hex Vision is giving off a vibranium signal that they can read outside the
Yes.
Hex shield.
Oh yeah, that is weird.
He is sort of real. It's
Yeah.
not just like,
I mean, he's made up of the parts of the original
Well,
Vision.
they did make a point of saying that when Monica came out of the Hex the first time, she still had the clothes that had been transformed when she went through. So they were saying that she's creating real material in that scene. They're like, no, she's actually created, like, this is the Kevlar suit reimagined, but she's also capable of creating.
That's like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if they do like a House of M, if they go with a House of M angle with her, it gives you I think it's hinting towards her ability to bend our reality and to push us into her reality. Because the House of M, but the thing is, before you go to the House of M, you have to introduce mutants first. Because that's important to the House of M.
Name and like introduce mutants through it or something like that.
Correct. Like, you got to like go through the process of people discovering mutants, hating mutants, blah blah blah. And then
this goes right alongside it, because it's like, now we have more mutants, and if Wanda classifies as a mutant, it's like, look what one mutant can do to a town.
Correct.
Take it hostage. And if we have more mutants, more stuff, they bring Hayward out of prison. They're like, we need you to be part of the Sentinel program and help hunt down mutants. He's like, yeah, I hate these people.
I also want to see, like, I would love to see.
And then we get Jubilee.
I like Jubilee. I want to see a Magneto character show up and just be like, these are my kids, Like, I think it's important that they have the father figure in there. Not the dude that they showed. Like, that guy could be her adopted father or whatever, but I want to see a Magneto character show up and be like, you're a mutant. That's where your abilities come from. Your brother's dead? What? And then go from there, because he's important to House of M too, right? Like, it's him. So that's the other thing. Like, him and Pietro are important to that story, and they kind of off Pietro right now. So I don't know. I mean, obviously you're going to do it in a multiverse, so you could totally bring him back in.
You know how they might do it? Just thinking about it is, all right. So they have the Marvel animated series that's coming up with the What If.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can see that as thing is like, where it's like, what if Wanda and Pietro were mutants? And that's where you can introduce the idea where it's like, oh, Magneto was their dad. Instead of like throwing that wholesale into the movie, you at least you seed it there, you drop it in there, and you let people get acclimated to it. Same kind of way they're doing like the multiverse thing, where they introduced the idea of it, even though it was fake in the second Spider-Man movie, and now they're just leaning more and more into that. And I actually kind of wonder how, as they go forward, like, they're obviously moving more into the multiverse stuff, but I do wonder like how they are going to reconcile the two time travel people as a result, because Loki and Gamora are technically like different timelines. I
forgot about Gamora.
But that's the whole idea.
So, Loki, right? Be that like that's like a multiverse thing where it's like, multiverse. It was timeline travel, but it's basically multiverse because it's a whole separate timeline thing.
Yeah.
What do you think? Go ahead.
With the Loki series, it's pretty like they have imagery that like alludes to like them having the living tribunal show up. So I think at some point he's just gonna be like, I'm just gonna super retcon everything, Like that's a possibility for them to just kind of solve it, where it's like, you know what, this is fine, that isn't, you know.
I mean,
It's
you gotta be
weird.
really
It's like
careful
how
when you do
cats
those
are
things.
right now. It's not like anything's gotten like too unwieldy. They're purposely making it unwieldy so they can then, I guess, maybe later on be like, yeah, undo it all.
Yeah.
Well, it's because you don't want to end up like a comic book where you have to retcon the whole thing at that level.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can do one or two things, and
That's
like
my concern, though.
I mean, you could do what Andrew was saying. You could do one or two things and say retcon or multiverse. It's a multiverse thing. Don't worry about it. But you can't be like, we got to take all of this back. We messed this part up. Sorry, this whole thing doesn't exist.
I don't know, man. It's Marvel Studios. Like,
I mean,
they've done.
You do that to us in the comic books, and
You
we can
mean
accept it.
Disney.
Right.
Yeah.
Disney absolutely should not allow that to happen. Because like X-Men, I think is known as the most retconned series in comic books. I think probably.
Yeah.
Disney, that's why. See, that's my concern about bringing the X-Men into the MCU, though, is I feel like they should just keep being their own little thing, and there should be.
No,
Like,
you got to bring them in the
there
MCU.
should be No, they're
Are you
not.
kidding
They're
me?
a hot fucking mess.
Yeah.
I want to see Captain America running alongside with Wolverine. I want to see a
But
decent
I have
fastball special at some point in my life.
Oh my god.
To be fair, though,
Yeah.
I have the same problem with Fantastic Four that I have with X-Men, which is there's been two series of X-Men movies now that both started off the first one, I don't know if I'd say it started off okay. It was all right. The very original X-Men series. It was the first, I think, really high budget superhero films we got. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed them because I was in fucking high school.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
as an adult, I cannot rewatch them. Then the
Well-
second series that came out was good. I liked it until they did the Dark Phoenix storyline, and then I was like, "Oh come on!"
I have not
guys,
seen
stop.
that movie
No,
yet. Everyone told me not
there's
to watch
so
it.
many other freaking
Don't.
X-Men storylines.
I
and
saw
they just
the-
keep doubling down on Dark Phoenix. It sucks.
I saw the Nightcrawler
Yeah.
sequences in there, and those look good, but I just have no interest in. That's
There
the
are
problem with those.
good
The problem with
ones
those
in it.
movies is it's the studios that own the rights to those characters don't understand those characters, and
Yeah.
the reason I'm saying we should bring X-Men into the MCU right now is because Marvel is in charge of their characters, and they know what their characters can and can't do. So it's very hard for them to fuck it up.
Well, I think that was
Was
the,
the Fantastic Four was also outside.
Yes, it was also owned by
too, right?
Fox.
They were both of them were bad.
They're all
Yeah.
bad.
I didn't see the second one because I heard they were really.
All three of those
But I
movies
saw the
are
first
horrible.
one in 2005. There were 3. Oh, that's right. They had a sequel.
The Fant Four Stick.
Yes, the fan force stick, as I learned. But like again, Marvel has the rights to their characters back, so you have these writers who like know the characters, know the comics, and it's the hard part is going to be spinning it into the existing universe, which we kind of got hints of it already in this show, and we all got excited about it, and so I feel like that was like a field test for them. Like,
I think it's also like a meta message that they were sending too. That like,
Right.
you know, what,
Just
we're
get
gonna
ready,
do this
guys.
all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know, get the hype, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like we're gonna set it up when we want to. You know,
Yeah.
we're not gonna. It's not gonna be. You know, you're not gonna get the same Pietro from this series. We're gonna just do what we want to do.
I mean, that's how you should be
Yeah.
acting when you talk to these fans. You should be like, you'll get what we're going to give you when we give it to you. Like,
You're gonna love it. In fact, he actually said that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a smart play, because otherwise you're going to end up with a DC movie. You
Yeah.
know?
You think there's.
So-
I mean, it's not a matter of if; it's a
That's
matter of
been a
when.
big joke.
That's
The
a
joke on the forums is that you'll end up with a Snyder cut.
well, DC does the opposite of what we're saying right now. They give the fans exactly what they want as soon as they want it, and then you end up with crap.
Exactly, and then they have you end up with crap. Okay,
Just
I
rush
have
out the door.
At least Kathleen Kennedy.
Unlike
was like,
Fantastic Four,
so.
Disney's MO with the Marvel stuff has been. I'm trying to make sure that this actually tracks with like a little bit I'm thinking of. Is they more or less like when they introduce something, they don't just kind of introduce it like wholesale in one go. They end up sprinkling it out a little bit ahead of time to kind of get you acclimated to the idea. And I imagine that's probably what the Pietro fake out sort of was, where it's like enough people recognize, well, oh, it's
people
Pietro.
are
I guess they're doing mutants.
big mad.
And it's
People
like
want
red
you-
herring.
Yeah. Well,
But
people
that
want the
doesn't mean that they're
X-Men.
not doing it. It just means like, hey, we're seeding the idea, so when we later really do it, you're not going to be like that put off by it. You're just going to roll with it because you're going to be like, of course, they were doing this.
So you're going to be like, finally, there he is. Yeah.
Yeah, they're beating us and they're making us want it, so that by the time we get it, we're gonna be salivating for it.
Yeah.
I just feel like there wasn't enough appreciation for how cute it was they brought in the mutant movie Pietro, the X-Men movie Pietro.
Oh, I loved
and then they
I loved it.
even though they didn't do anything with it, it was still adorable. Like
Yeah.
It was, yeah. I'm really hoping
okay, so
get characters sprinkled in.
Go ahead,
Oh,
because mine's totally unrelated.
no. Okay.
Nope.
Like,
I was jumping ship again.
on this point, I kind of hope that we don't just get a X-Men movie altogether. We get like someone bamps in like Doctor Strange and like Nightcrawler, or like the characters get sprinkled in, because one thing that the X-Men movies did was they focused in on like 2 characters all the time, and everyone else
And it
got
was
left
boring
in the
and awful,
background.
Yeah.
Like Deadpool did more
Well, they
with the
could do-
Colossus than
Yes.
the X-Men movies ever did. So,
Yeah.
So the Nick Cage, fuck, now I've forgotten his name. The Nick Cage
Ghost
fiery
Rider?
skull guy.
Ghost Rider.
Yes,
Oh,
look,
Fiery
look,
Skull guy.
those weren't great, right? But
I'm gonna go with Fiery Skull Guy from now on, just so you know.
I hate you. Okay, show your face. No, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they had Ghost Rider, and he was great.
That version of that was well, that's because the movies, those movies were made again. It comes back down again to the studio. Ghost Rider was not owned by Marvel.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay, see, I don't
No.
keep up with that shit. I just know that I actually worked for a VFX studio that did shots for Ghost Rider, and we had to remove wrinkles from Nick Cage, so...
I've got that on record twice now. But
it's because it's a funny story.
I mean, it's funny. I think it's hilarious that he has to have his. That's like goes back to this old story of when William Shatner filmed Star Trek and they had him edit his butt, and they had to wipe his. I look like I'm massaging his butt. What I'm actually doing is editing it out.
Better?
He made his butt smaller because he said his butt was too big in some scenes. So they had to go through and fucking edit film. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I read, obviously.
In the 80s or the 90s?
I think it was the last one they did with Generations.
Generations.
But like,
It was not easy to do back then.
right. I was just like, I would have been like, here's an idea, Mr. Shatner. Fuck off. Like, that's why, like, when you saw the J.J. Abrams movies, they only have Spock in the first one, right? Because they wanted Shatner in there, but he made so many demands, they were like, we're good.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is exactly how you should be treated. You should be like, do you want to be in the movie or not? I'd be like, if Marvel called me tomorrow and said, hey, you want to play a janitor in this movie? I'd be like, cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Do I get a
That'd be the
speaking
best
line?
thing
Can I say
ever.
something witty? Like, that's not your cat. Like, that's the stupidest line I could come up with. I don't know what I would actually say. But I would love to be in a movie, and I wouldn't ask for demands, but,
But you're no Shatner.
I will ask for a demand. I want to.
my butt is rocking. You don't need to edit my butt, okay? I do my squats. I'm good to go.
Wow. Now that's on record. Alan.
That's on record, too.
Slap it on a
But my point was to Tyler's statement about Ghost Rider. My point is, anytime you see a Marvel property out there right now, like a movie, and you think this movie's horrible, there's a 99% chance it was made by a studio that wasn't Marvel, and that's why it's bad. Like
the second Hulk.
But what about Blade?
The second Hulk movie wasn't Marvel, was it?
And I loved it.
Was it Marvel?
It was, wasn't it? I thought that. Yeah,
I think it was. You're right. I didn't hate the second Hulk movie.
Yeah, the second Hulk movie was a separate studio. I think it was Paramount as well, but that's still considered a canon movie.
Yeah.
It is canon. Tony Stark's in it.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that Abomination is out there somewhere still?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the 1% off my statement.
Well, She-Hulk. So we're getting She-Hulk, and we are getting Bruce Banner in She-Hulk.
Are we getting a She-Hulk movie or a She-Hulk show?
Yeah.
TV show.
Oh, it's a show? Oh,
Yeah.
you're right, it is a show.
I mean, I don't know, because I didn't know Eternals was going to be a movie. I thought Eternals was going to be a
You
show.
didn't watch the 25-minute
Angelina Jolie
announcement
is not good.
trailer?
No.
Angelina Jolie being in Eternals is weird.
Yeah.
I don't mind her being in there. I like her as an actress.
But her, yeah.
I don't know. I saw Maleficent.
I thought she was great.
She's got range.
I like her in Wanted.
Not a thing.
Is that what it's
Okay,
called?
but can we talk about how
Hackers.
are we going to move on with Blade? How are we going to do a not Wesley Snipes?
So here's the
I
thing.
don't know.
Mahershala
I
Ali.
get it.
Mahershala Ali. I will watch anything.
Are the Blade
Is
movies?
that who they've got for it? Who they've got for it?
Yeah.
I I don't know. I don't actually know. I just knew that
From Moonlight?
I really loved Wesley
Yeah, the dude from
Snipes.
Moonlight.
Yeah, but Mahershala Ali is going to make us forget who Wesley Snipes even is. I cannot wait.
I mean, it's gonna.
Those are bold words,
Yeah,
sir.
they are, but
I mean-
come on, it's Wesley Snipes. He's not exactly a great actor. Mahershala Ali
Why
is
it's
the
great.
fucking
That's why
shit.
it's fucking fantastic. All
Yeah.
those stupid shots
He's
where he like
really
says
cool.
the goofy puns and he's
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh
Come
no,
on,
don't
you
get
don't
me
like
wrong.
the cool like. I love the goofy one-liners. I actually the second Blade movie I think
love
is really
them so
good.
much. I live for those
yeah.
Some
goofy
motherfuckers always try to
one-liners.
ice skate uphill.
That's the line. That's the line.
I love those movies. It's just Wesley Snipes is not.
Well, do you know, like, if you do, I think if you look it up on YouTube and stuff, there's a whole thing about how he got so into character, he would show up on set as character, and he would take phone calls as character, and they had to, like, have him do, like, I guess there was a point where he had to take a phone call about something, and he did it all as Blade, and they were just like, this
I
is
love
fucking weird.
everything about that.
And I was just like, as somebody on the sidelines watching this, I'd be like, this is kind of cool, right? Be like, Mr. Snipes, would you like a ham and cheese sandwich or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? You know, it'd be like, some motherfuckers are always trying to skate uphill. And you're like, cool, peanut butter and jelly. You know, like.
I would just want a movie of like Wesley Snipes and Jared Leto just
Oh.
going off on each other with like.
Okay, but wait, they got who did they get? No, they announced who was gonna play Abomination. Did they? No, enough to. I can't remember now.
Abomination.
They
She-Hulk?
Christian Bale is playing someone, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
He's gonna be Guardian.
He's Guardian, yeah.
Oh no, Thor. Oh Thor.
Yeah,
the
he's-
God Killer.
no,
He's a
Thor,
Thor
the God
character.
Killer.
That's what
He's
it
gonna
is.
be-
Yeah, he's
The God
yeah,
Killer.
that's right. Okay, I was about to say he's one of the baddies, and he's a method actor too. Are we gonna get some weird like Wesley Snipes level like
I mean,
Christian Bale answers phone as Philip Bateman? Because that's what I want.
I'd imagine Christian Bale gets really into his character roles when he does his roles, and that's what I like about Bale. You know, he doesn't break his character when he's learning. Wesley Snipes, on the hand, I'm with you guys. He's no. I mean, I didn't hate him in Blade. I thought it was great to see him as that character.
I loved him in.
I
Blade.
want to see what I want to see
loved
is
it.
in the new Blade
Wesley
is
Snipes Whistler.
Whistler.
Wesley Snipes as Whistler.
Yeah.
Oh, just put him in as a.
That's a fan theory. That's like a fan casting. What if they bring him back as
That would be pretty cool.
the mentor? Give him
Yeah.
long white hair.
I don't think the thing is I don't think he could break from the character of Blade to play Whistler.
I'll just
Yeah.
write it as Blade.
He would still be speaking in the same way, right?
Hey,
That's the problem. But he's also, I feel like, you know, there's a what is it? What's his name? Morbius, the living vampire. There's that coming out.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Oh my
that would be a
God, I
good.
always forget about that movie.
I mean, it didn't look bad, but again, it's not. It's.
Oh.
I think it's a Fox production or Sony.
Sony.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
So
Sony.
so you should go in there thinking to yourself, it's not going to be the greatest film. Done.
Wait,
Venom's
which
gonna
one?
call it at the end or something.
Yeah,
Start
it's
their
gonna be
own-
like Venom.
The new Spider-Man.
The new Morbius movie.
Oh, Morbius. Sorry.
Spider-Man. Sony's been smart enough to hand the reins over to Marvel for the Spider-Man character.
It's been so. The new Spider-Man movies are so
Yeah.
good.
They're
okay,
so
but
good.
Wait, one more thing about Blade though.
Mhm.
So they have the Mahershala Ali played. He was in Luke Cage. He was.
Yeah.
What's the
He was
fuck is his name?
Cottonmouth, yeah.
He was Cottonmouth.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was
yeah.
Cottonmouth in Luke Cage. Yeah, when I saw
Yeah.
his picture, I was like, I know that guy. That's weird that they call him back. But then they had another character who was in another Marvel property that they brought back for WandaVision in a different role, and now I can't remember their name, which is great and helpful.
Again,
Don't
like
forget-
Disney, as far as they're concerned, like the Netflix movies or the Netflix shows don't count, I guess, towards their canon
Well,
thing.
That's
They're not.
It does to a
That makes
degree
me
because
sad
they're bringing
because I
Daredevil
love
in.
Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
They're bringing
It's
Daredevil in.
weird.
Daredevil was
Well,
good.
is that
Is he?
confirmed?
Jones is good.
It's
Is he
been.
Daredevil?
They're saying
Yeah,
that
I've heard that.
Charlie Cox is going to show up somewhere as Daredevil in. I don't know which way, but it's part of the multiverse theory.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
he's a cool dude, by the way. I met him at I forget which convention it was. I had a Daredevil. I think it was the one in Cincinnati or I forget, but I had a Daredevil fan art piece I did back in the day, and as I was moving all my stuff out at the end of the show, he was outside, and I was like, "Holy crap!" So I was like, "Can I get you to sign this piece?" It was super nice, and he was like, he took one. Obviously, I was like, "Here, this one's yours. You can have both of them." So
He also has a nice butt.
he definitely has a nice butt.
We're talking about
I
butts.
can confirm.
Wesley Snipes has a nice butt too.
He's
That's-
still in
We
shape.
didn't mention that.
That's because
Got a pretty good
the dude's constantly running uphill, man. That's what happens.
No, he's
Ice skating.
That's a workout.
Yeah,
Now,
he is.
I will say the first Blade movie I enjoyed when I saw it in the theater because it was Blade, and I was trying to figure out how they would take this character and make it into a movie. The second one I really like because I love Guillermo del Toro, and I think he did a brilliant job of bringing those characters to life. And the third one was garbage. Hot garbage.
I think I'm the only person on
What's the
earth
third
who
one
liked the
where
third one.
it was like Ryan Reynolds?
I was fine with the
Wait,
third
what?
one until the end
What
where
was
he's
the plot
fighting.
of the third one? I forget.
He's fighting Dracula, like
Yeah.
the head honcho. The only person that should be able to stop Dracula should be his own son, Alucard. Period. Nobody else. You should not be able to fight Dracula as Blade and win that fucking battle. And also, I have a friend who just
but the
realized
gifts.
I have a friend who realized Alucard was Dracula backwards a couple months ago.
Dracula backwards? Oh no.
To see the look on his face was worth telling him that. I'm like, it's his son.
Did
He
you
goes,
Did you write him a get well soon card? Did you send him flowers?
I bought him dinner. I felt bad. I was like,
Yeah.
I just shook your whole world. And Blade 3 was cool until the end where he's fighting Dracula, and I'm just like, I don't know, man, because Dracula's supposed to be this omnipotent character that shouldn't easily be defeated.
It's Blade 3 though.
I get it, but Carey's over here saying he likes Blade 3.
Yeah, I have to admit to that one. That's a guilty pleasure of mine. I like it better than the first Blade. I'm sorry.
Which
See,
one?
I'm not familiar with any of the Blade comics, so I love the movies.
The comics are based on, I think they were called Night Stalkers, right?
Yeah, something like that.
And they were introduced as part of a elite team that's hunting down, I believe, Morbius the Living Vampire. So it's an easy tie-in if you want. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, It's been so long since I read. So, on a quick side note, do you guys remember Darkhawk?
No.
That's cool. Let's move on. Doesn't matter. Nobody knows who he is. They're rebooting the comics. I just want to say that it's really cool.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
comic,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or no, that's Marvel. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Marvel. But I'm
Can we just
'cause-
appreciate
Was he a Night Stalker?
how much?
no.
Is he a
Yes.
Batman clone?
He looks like Batman Azrael.
He's got like an amulet that gives him the abilities of Darkhawk, and then
I do remember
it
him.
was one of those corny characters like the Sleepwalker character and stuff that they came up with on the fly, but Darkhawk was really cool. Yeah, that's him.
He looks kind of cool. I mean,
Is it on the app already? See you guys
no,
later.
I'm on the Google.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so they're rebooting they're doing like a one-shot comic book series, and it was one of my favorites when I was younger. And if they did a show on that, it would be fucking amazing. And I feel like Marvel has, like going back to the idea of these shows, they have all these properties that they turn into shows, but the key is tying them in to the existing universe, and that's the problem. That's a problem for them because they need to make sure it all ties together. Otherwise, it's pointless, right? You can't just make you can't just. I'm trying to think of a character that's unimportant. Sleepwalker. Let's go with Sleepwalker. You can't just make a Sleepwalker series because it would be pointless into the rest of the Marvel universe right now. But you can definitely make a Miss Marvel series because Kamala Khan is important to Captain Marvel. I almost called her Captain Power.
Is she a series or a movie?
It's gonna be a
Series.
Series, I believe.
Okay.
I mean,
Which
they're-
you
they're
can-
Moon Knight
Video, but I
too.
wasn't
So who
cognizant
knows?
enough to remember.
What'd you say, Lucas?
I was just saying they're introducing Moon Knight now too. So like I feel like
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
they are, which is
he's
real
on the
weird.
table. So
That is a good point. I'm curious to how they're going to tie him into the rest of the stuff.
right.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you really have to be careful with the shows you make because look at what happened with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It started out so good, and then it fell apart at the end, and there was
But that's
potential.
also that was also it's weird. It's so weird because that and like the Netflix thing. It's even though it's technically like Disney licensed out, it was also like not under their control because.
Right.
What was it? It was the head of Marvel at the time, Ike Perlmutter, greenlit those, and Ike Perlmutter was also the guy that basically sold off all the rights way back when Marvel was basically going bankrupt. And his whole attitude is he's an old rich white guy. He doesn't really care about what happens to any of these.
Mhm.
Really makes money, right? And that's actually why the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series was always kind of like the redheaded stepchild because it was like, oh no, that's Perlmutter's thing. That's not really what we're focusing on with our stuff. And
It
same
wasn't.
thing.
It sucks because it was so good at the beginning.
Yes, exactly.
And,
I enjoyed
and it's the same thing with like
And
the
then it
Netflix,
just.
where it was like it went Disney was kind of like, yeah, it can kind of tie in, but don't hang your hat on this because we'll disregard it at a drop of a hat if we need to.
I feel like the Netflix series had the same problem. The first season of the Netflix series, with the exception, I think, of Daredevil. I can't really remember because it's been ages. They all fell apart after the first season. They just were like,
well, they treated Iron Fist like garbage. Like
Iron Fist was garbage.
It was a perfect character, and I'm amazed at how epically they fucked up that character.
Yeah, they gave it was like thrown together. Dude had what 2 weeks to train.
Yeah,
some shit like that. It's crazy. They did Daredevil right, and everything else was just like, okay, we'll just stuff this in too.
Yeah. I wonder if they were hoping because he was coming off of Game of Thrones that they wouldn't have to do a whole lot of work. But
sure, maybe.
No.
And they did okay with Jessica Jones.
Iron Fist was a problematic story, though. Iron Fist, like, as far as appropriation and stuff goes, I don't like that character.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of problems with the character. And the thing is, they could have fixed it, and they didn't. They just went with, they're like, well, that's what's in the comics. I'm like, oh, fuck you. You guys have been ignoring the comics for ages now. Like, fuck off.
Right.
Fuck right off with that shit.
And that caused everything else to fall apart.
Like, they doubled down on the disappointing shit. Exactly. And then Iron Fist became the weak link in the team up, because the team up series should have been really cool, and it was just kind of meh. It was the Justice League of the MCU. For sure. Like, as far as flops go.
I mean,
just please never give us a Snyder cut of that shit. Like, no.
I mean, Marvel's never gonna let him touch their properties.
Yeah.
Well, no, when I say Snyder cut, I mean a reimagining of the same content. Like, that's not gonna fix it. It needs a rewrite.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it sucks because Luke Cage was really good, and I really liked the first season of Jessica Jones, and I just like Jessica Jones in general.
I mean, they did a good job with season 1. Jessica Jones was good. Season 2 was not as great in my opinion. It wasn't bad, but
great, yeah.
Yeah, it was not as great. And then Luke Cage season 1 was good. Season 2, I was kind of like, I don't know. I wanted a little bit more from season 2, but it wasn't bad. Daredevil, great all the way through. Punisher, really good all the way through.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch Punisher because it was a little too ultra violent for me.
It is violent.
It was really good.
Very violent.
But the Punisher is always violent, so I knew I wasn't gonna watch it from the get go. I was like, it's Daredevil for me. But
Speaking of the what if stuff you brought up earlier, I kind of want to see the what if Punisher had killed Spider-Man issue. Remember that one? Or what if Punisher killed Daredevil? Right?
Okay, he can kill Daredevil, but I would be heartbroken if he killed cute, sweet baby Tom Holland Spider-Man.
I think it's either Spider-Man or Daredevil. I forget. It's a what if, man. He didn't really do it. Yeah.
No, yeah.
So I think.
Well, I mean, in the comics, Kraven killed. Well, he didn't really kill Spider-Man, but they had the Death of Spider-Man storyline.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Ultimate
with
comic.
Freaking Kraven. They tried to make
Spider-Man.
Kraven super serious.
Yeah.
Didn't love that.
I think one thing that Disney is doing right.
Go ahead, Tom.
The shows is that we're saying
it's
the
your
Netflix.
turn, sorry.
The Netflix. The Netflix show is clearly like every TV show eventually has its ending, but maybe Disney's doing it right with like some of these shows just need one season and then they can evolve and then you can do different like Falcon Winter Soldier may not get a second season. The season after that maybe should be Falcon.
Right.
Or
there were people asking.
Oh, sorry, go
another
on.
Season of WandaVision.
I don't think it's a good idea to do another season of WandaVision. I think it's ended perfect.
They will do. They would possibly do one. Yeah.
You could bring Vision back and be like, here, let's do a Vision series with her and Wanda trying to reacclimate to living in the real world if you want to. But it'd probably be better just to leave it alone and move into a movie.
No, leave it alone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do Vision Quest.
Vision Quest would be amazing.
In real life don't always work out, so I think the fact that things didn't work out perfectly for her was really great. I thought that was a good ending.
Yeah. And Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think, is just leading you into
I'm so excited for
Falcon being Captain America at some point, right? He takes the mantle.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, all these I'm more or less assuming are basically going to be like longer movies, like 6-7 movies kind of thing. And just roll with it like that. It's not going to be a series thing. I can't imagine any of them being a multi-season thing that's coming up.
I don't think they should be.
Maybe Miss Marvel, possibly.
Like
I live with Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Okay, but when are we gonna get a Squirrel Girl TV series? I'm just
For real. I would get
Miss Marvel and Squirrel Girl is the next show after, maybe.
Probably. I mean, I'm guessing they'll introduce Squirrel Girl into the Miss Marvel series.
She's
Just
so good.
it would be smart of them to do it that way.
They have to introduce mutants if they're gonna have Squirrel Girl, right? So
Yeah.
Is she a mutant?
No,
Yes.
Miss Marvel is
Yes.
Inhuman.
No, Squirrel Girl's a mutant. Miss
Oh,
Marvel
Squirrel Girl's a
is-
mutant,
Squirrel
yeah.
Girls, yeah.
So that'd
She
be
babysits.
Then they can talk about Inhuman.
Luke Cage and
mutants.
Yeah.
Jessica kid, which is weird.
oh yeah,
As
that's
long as they
right.
never do the weird storyline between her and fucking Wolverine, please don't. Please God.
No, they won't do that.
I know we shouldn't even say that out loud.
No.
I would love to see. I would love to see them introduce both those characters, Miss Marvel and Squirrel Girl, in the same show, and then lead into a Squirrel Girl series. But I also want to. I'm curious to know what they're going to do with Miss Marvel, because she is an Inhuman, and they had a hard time introducing Inhumans. So hopefully they either keep that storyline and introduce Inhumans along with mutants, or they just flip it all into mutants.
Well, they
but
had the Inhuman show, which was fucking terrible.
I didn't get past the first episode.
I didn't watch
That was
it.
another.
No, me
that was
neither.
a
It was
Mutter
so
thing,
bad.
actually.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's a
They
Fox.
set it
Is that
on
a Fox
fire.
property or Sony property?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was basically an Agents of the Shield scenario. Like that was another thing that
Yeah.
it was at the
fuck it.
time when Disney didn't own mutants.
Yeah.
So I told Mutter
Yes.
was like, "Fuck mutants. We're not going to advertise them whatsoever anymore. We're going to try and make Inhumans a thing." And
Yeah.
that was his thing. He was trying to make was like the Inhuman shows. But he was also like,
He was like,
he was like,
literally
"I want to make
killing all
Inhumans,
the
but I
comics.
don't want to spend a lot of money."
Yeah.
They
It
were
was
going to make it a
cheap
movie, and then
budget,
became a TV
campy.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it tried to be super dramatic, like Game of Thrones level dramatic vibes, but it was like what's her name? With the hair. It was
Mhm.
bad. The
Medusa.
CG, Medusa's hair, and just her whole thing.
It's
So
on Carey's shirt.
It looked so like the joke. Yeah,
Yeah,
the joke
yeah.
outfits they had in WandaVision on the Halloween episode were basically the level of costume design they had on the Inhuman show.
Oof.
Yeah, because Black Bolt's
Yeah.
an amazing character, and you're just like, you're fucking ruining this character.
They
Give
ruined
him
it
the
so
whole
hard.
head.
Give him the headpiece with the fucking
Don't be-
horn.
Don't be scared. Just do it.
It
For
would
real.
have been cool if they had committed. They did this half-assed, like, oh, well, it's kind of the old outfits, but it's not. And then, yeah, the budget thing was an issue, and the writing was an issue, and woof, I did not make it past the first episode.
All right, well,
I don't know how many people did.
we're about an hour and a half in, so I'm gonna wrap this up. But if you have anything else about WandaVision, say I did find this one piece of information about WandaVision says in the early days, Tommy and Billy were reincarnated in the comic books. So I guess at some point they did bring them back. And it's clear Wanda is taking her first steps in understanding the full potential of her powers. Could that entail the resurrection? It's possible. And with the multiverse involved in the upcoming Doctor Strange film, it could even be the case there's true fates will be resolved in that film. Their true fates will be resolved in that film. I don't remember them being reincarnated. Ooh, what do you got there?
This is a very small Easter egg, but it's like this is on her suit, on her neck. It's like this shape of like the Mind Stone. So that's
Oh,
I've been on the Reddit since we started talking about it.
that is
The
awesome.
Reddits.
The
Yeah.
Reddits. So if there's anything else you
I
guys
think
want to add about WandaVision before we wrap up.
Yeah, I believe that the kind of the overarching theme of the show is all about truth and living your truth. They kept kind of driving that home, living your truth, and that's how the story ended. Even though it didn't end great for Wanda, she has arrived at some version of the truth. Whereas in the beginning, it was all, just a fantasy.
Yeah.
So we get the truth with Vision, we get the truth with Wanda, the truth with Agatha, all that. So I plan on rewatching the series kind of with that end in mind and see if I can pick up anything else.
Let us know if you get any new notes from any of that, because I'm curious. I was trying to watch the last two episodes over and see if I missed any Easter eggs, because in the earlier episodes, they hit a bunch of stuff in the backgrounds.
Yeah.
You just have to really look for it, right?
Well, you missed the second trailer at the end of the last episode.
You're never getting invited back again.
That's okay.
Banned. Because that's when I started looking at the theater too, right? Like I started looking at the names on the theater. It was initially just a theater, and then I was like, wait a minute, those names have to be important. Which is seriously, these guys are hammering on a Sunday. Anyone else have anything to say? Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up. Going once, going twice.
Think of-
All right, thanks for watching, guys. It should upload right away because I streamed on both channels, so you can catch it everywhere. Have a good one. I think the next episode is actually I'm doing on Wednesday with Ben Hill and Charlie. How do you say his last
Bean
name?
Hill.
Yeah, Bean. And we're gonna do one on horror video games. So if any of you guys, maybe I can
Oh,
have
I
2 more
love
people
it.
on.